Morning guys, Si here. Thought I'd do a little gunner talk since I've not done one in a few weeks. Last night's game, result disappointing, not going to get away from that. Obviously two centre-backs and probably our best two centre-backs going off made a big difference, but you know, we were controlling the game up to that point, but where were we actually getting with it? You know, was it... I don't know, I'm not feeling it at the moment with this team at all. I think we've lost all penetration. We just don't seem to really carve out clean-cut chances. And it's something that's keeping me up at night. I can't get away from it. As much as people tell me, oh, this guy's doing this guy... I'm not seeing it at the minute at all. I'm really not. And you know, we can have all the ball we want and 80% possession, but we're creating nothing with it. Just go and look at the stats of games and how many actual chances we're creating. It's not good enough. You know, and it gives you an insight into the full extent of the job that Unai's got on. He's got a massive job on his hands, absolutely massive. You know, I'm going to keep coming back to you guys and telling you, you know, look at the videos that I did at the start of the season. Nothing's changed. My thoughts are still the exact same, you know. Last night, Emmy, let's start at goalkeeper. Emmy's gone on loan to Reading. Why? I told you guys he was good enough to replace Cech at the start of the season, and last night's just more evidence of it. How he's still at the club, and Emmy's gone on loan is beyond me, and I hope Emmy leaves and goes and plays somewhere else, because he's better than being our third choice behind him. That's it for me. And I'm buzzing. Cech's, you know, he's been an incredible goalkeeper in the Premier League era, and easily one of the top five for me. You know, and I'll applaud him when he's done, but he's hindering us now at the moment. We're putting way too much faith in him, like we are way too many of our team. You know, the old Wengerites that are still there, and they've all got to go for me. You know, people, like I always say, people think I'm cold, and I just don't have an affinity, apart from Laka, Torreira and Socrates. Maybe Bellerin as well. I don't have an affinity towards anybody in this squad at all. I don't feel anything towards any of them. They could all go tomorrow and I wouldn't bat an eyelid. You know, so Cech go in, Emmy maybe go in summer. You know, we need another goalkeeper, that's a fact. Right back, you know, that's just a complete fucking shit show at the minute. Hector getting injured, absolutely devastated for him, because I think he's one of our better players. Gutted for him, absolutely gutted, and you know, gutted for us because it leaves us in an utter mess now at right back. Lichy, you know, I thought he'd be able to do a job at the start of the season. I got it totally wrong. He's way past it. No surprise, Juve let him go. He's just not up to it. We should just cut him free now and just save ourselves that 100k a week, because he's not going to play us unless we're really desperate, because he's just not looking good enough. Jenko, I think, has to play at right back now. I'm embarrassed he's still at the club, but he's our best right back now. You know, poor Ainsley keep getting shoved there, and then people hammering him for not being good enough. Well, play any of our other actual midfielders there. You know, he's a midfielder, this lad. You know, play Rambo there, play Torreira there, play Xhaka there, play El Neni there. You know, play Ozil there. You're going to get the end result, if not worse. You know, he's doing his bit, the lad. He's doing his bit. I can't be mad at him at all. You know, we're just not using him right, and I'm not going to blame him for that. So yeah, right back is an absolute mess for me. Absolute mess. Proper car crash. Centre back, you know, we lost two more centre backs again yesterday. I don't know for how long yet, but you know, Mustafi, he's just not good enough for me. And you know, like I say, if we want to really be honest with ourselves and have a good long, you know, scrutinise our club properly, there's so many that have got to go for me. They've got to go, and we've just got to start again. You know, whether you say, oh well, he does this and he does that, yeah, but look at the things he doesn't do, and they're a bigger problem for me. So he's got to go for me, because you know, yeah, he was better against Chelsea, you know, but five stinkers before that. You know, and one game isn't going to change my opinion that he's finished. We can't rely on him game in, game out. And you know, these guys, you say, oh well, he'd be good as a backup. Yeah, but he's on too much money for us to have him as a backup. I would rather get rid of his wages and just have a kid as a backup and hope that they turn out to be better. That's just my opinion. So them two for me have both got to go. Socrates, yeah, Hulks can stay, Holding can stay. Chambers, don't know what's quite going on with him at the minute, whether he'll come back and actually play or he'd play in centre mid instead of defence, I don't know, but that's another tricky one. But apart from that, everyone else for me has got to go, and I'd rather have Mavropanos and Medley as backups and just let's see what they're capable of, because they can't be any worse than what we've got at the minute. Left back, you know, people hammering Kolasinac again yesterday, you know, or he can't defend and all the rest of it. But he does create a lot going forward. You look last night, pretty much everything we created was from him and down his side. And And when people who say, well, Nacho, we're better at having Nacho at left back. Why? Because if the argument is, well, he's better at defending. He's not that much better at defending, and we'd lose a hell of a lot of creativity, and that's something we're struggling for even more. So I just don't get that. I've told you guys, Nacho's another one for me that's got to go. I think it's mad we've offered him another contract. The only way I can understand it is that we've got so many other pressing issues at the minute that he's one that we'll just have to side with for the time being. And this is this is the real problem that we've got at the minute, is there's too many positions that we could really do with getting rid of one or two players. But we're not going to be able to do it all in one window, so it's how Unai looks at which of those positions are most important and where we attack first. But like I say, for me in that back line, Cech, Lichy, Jenko, Mustafi, Koz, Nacho have all got to go for me. All got to go. Let's just start again. Let's just get some kids in. Let's use our kids we've already got. I'd rather finish 8 places lower and see us moving towards a future than staying stagnant with players that we know won't be here in 2 years. It's that simple for me. People just can't seem to look at it like that with an open mind. Midfield, I think, is a massive problem that I think people aren't really noticing how big a problem it is because of how bad our defence is. And wingers are, we don't have any wingers. But you look at that midfield yesterday, I'm sure people will tell me Xhaka and Ramsey had really good games yesterday, but awful for me. Maybe awful is a bit tough, but Torreira is the only one who's doing his bit, and he's doing all the defending for them two, and they're not doing all the creating. Xhaka, for me, I was a fan of him, and I thought, when we get Torreira, he'd be a lot better player and we'd see a lot more of him. And he just seems to be playing in the comfort zone at the minute. He's not trying anything. It's just this crab football sideways back to the back line to the goalkeeper. He's lost all his creativity, and if he hasn't got that, what else has he got? People saying we build a team around him and Torreira. I would not be looking. I think if we build a team around that guy, we're just going to stay top 6. He's not good enough for me. He's not good enough. He's slow. He's not very mobile. He's not got a great engine. He's garbage at tackling. He doesn't read the game well. And like I say, his only strong point was he could spray the ball about a bit, and he's not even doing that anymore. For me, he's got a big price ticket, and he's not living up to it at all. And for me, he's another one that's got to go. If I'm going to be totally cruel, totally honest, he's another one that's got to go for me. El Nene, just pointless. He's got to go. Ramsey, like I say, people say he had a really good game last night, but look at what did he actually create? It's not that much. And when you look at him the same, he runs around like an headless chicken for me. He's got no positional sense or whatever. He's got no. He doesn't track back like Ozil, but he doesn't create as much as Ozil. They're the facts of it, and they're the bones of it. He just doesn't. He's another one. I'm glad that he's going. I was the same with Jack. Yeah, thank you for the years that you've been here and your service, but it's time to move on. You're just not good enough. And he was the same last night. He's doing nothing penetrative at all. There's no killer balls from him or anything. He just wanders around like he's like a goal hanging number 9, but he doesn't score that often. He doesn't create that often. So what's he in the team for? I just don't get it. He's another one. I'm just glad he's going now. And all the fanboys, they can go with him for all I care. Mesut, just don't get it. Just do not get that situation at all. Whether it's him, whether it's us, whether it's both, I don't know. But he's got to go. He's just got to go. I love the man, and I think he's one of the best number 10s he's ever been. But for me, he's got to leave. He's got to leave. We can't carry on in this situation. The money he's on, this indecisiveness. When he came on last night, he just didn't look that interested anymore. He just looks like he wants to leave. As much as his agent might say he wants to stay, he didn't look like a man that cared that much to me last night. And he was a bit like Ramsey, just running around like an headless chicken, really, just trying, but it's not good enough for me. Certainly not for someone who's on, the best part of $500,000 a week. It's absolute madness. And like I say, that midfield. Guendouzi, when he came on for me, did more than Xhaka in 70 minutes. He did more in 20. And I'd rather see him play. I don't like, as I told you guys at the start of the season, I didn't want him thrown in at the deep end. I wanted him to be used as a squad player. He hasn't. And people will moan about some of his performances, but you've got to look at the senior pros. Why is this kid getting picked in front of him? Because they're shit and they're not good enough. It's just a fact for me, and I would rather play him next to Torreira or somebody else than keep seeing Xhaka play there or see Ramsey play there. For me, like I say, with Ramsey going, he should just be in the reserves for me. I don't want to see him anywhere near the first team. And I'd be looking to do a deal now to get him gone, and let's start looking towards the future, because he's not part of it. It's that simple for me. I'm pretty cutthroat. The winger situation, that's a complete mess. He won't be. He's just not a winger, is he? He tries his bollocks off. I can't give him shit for that, but he hasn't got that instinct when he gets down the line, when he gets down the channel, when he puts someone on the back foot. He should automatically know where to play the ball. Like that chance last night. When he worked his way in with that little layoff from beautiful little layoff off Laka, his first instinct should be just square that right across the 6-yard box, and he didn't, and that that could have been a goal for us early doors, and that's it for me. If you look at the difference between him and Kolasinac in final balls, it's totally different, because Kolasinac just knows what to do on instinct. He'll just try and cut it back, and he doesn't look up enough either. He drives me absolutely apeshit. Like I say, he just doesn't have that winger's instinct, and for me, as much as I like him and I think there might be something there, if he's going to keep playing him out wide, just get rid of him. Let's just get someone else who's an actual winger. Like I say, I'm going to be harsh in these. Oba, for me, he's a dead man walking for me at the minute. If he wasn't, people need to look past the fact he's scoring goals. Yes, you get a striker for scoring goals, but I want more than that from a striker. And where he's playing might give him a bit of an excuse, but not enough for me. He's been dropping 2 out of 10s for me for weeks on end now, and it's just getting masked by the fact that he's a bagsman. You can't take away from the fact he's prolific at scoring goals, and he's got that instinct to be in the right place at the right time. Like last night, he scores so many of those, and people say, "Oh, yeah, it's only from 2 yards out." Yeah, but you've got to be in that place to score from 2 yards out, and he is very good at it. But yeah, he's not up to scratch for me at the minute. I don't know if he needs a break or whatever, or he's got other stuff going on, but I don't know. We've just got lack of options, haven't we? We can't really rest him, because who else do we play? We've got no backup at all. We're a bare 11 really at the minute, and it's worrying for this season. And it's tricky. The only real highlight for me last night was Lacazette. How this man isn't our captain, our idol, and should already be a statue of him outside. The guy is unreal. Last night, he's just an absolute workhorse, plus he's mega talented. He won the ball last night more times than our back line did. I'm pretty sure of that. I don't need to look at the stats, but I reckon he won the ball back at least 10 or 12 times last night, just with his sheer tenacity. And when he seems to eke out a chance for himself, he always tends to hit the target or go close, and I love that about him. And, if we had 11 of him, we'd be a shit hot side. Just his work ethic and talent, and he's the only bright spot for me at the minute in what is an absolute shit show. We've got some kids knocking about there and there, Saka, Nketiah, why aren't these kids getting a chance at the minute? I'm not sure, because they can't do any worse than what's going on. I honestly think this season now, I don't see us winning the Europa at all. I think we're a million miles away from winning that. The league, top 4, is it possible? Maybe not now, I don't know. But I honestly think we should just write this season off and spend our time now looking at getting out, all these players. Like I say, for me, Cech, Lichi, Jenko, Mustafi, Koz, Nacho, El Neni, Xhaka, Rambo, Ozil, Mickey, Iwobi, all of those could go for me, all of them. And like I say, I wouldn't bat an eyelid, and I would rather put all the under-21s in instead and just see if they can be up to it, because this lot aren't, and they're getting paid way too much to not be cutting the mustard for me. That's mega money right there, and then we could rebuild if we got rid of those lot. And none of them, I think, are that vital to our play where we can't afford to lose them. I'm sure people will tell me different, but I think it's because you've just got the old red tinted blinkers on, and you can't see past the end of your own nose at the minute. But I'm trying to give credit to Unai and looking at the full extent of this job he has got on. And unless we do get rid of 10 or 12 players like I've just listed, I don't see how we're going to improve. I think he's just going to be working, trying to make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. I just don't see how he's going to do it. And whether he gets frustrated and leaves, I don't know. But I don't think we can afford for him to leave. I think, as I've said since the start of the season, I think he's the best guy for the project we've got and the rebuild we're trying to do. And yeah, I think it's a long road ahead for us guys. I don't see many happy days on the horizon at the minute. I think it's going to be tough for us. I think we're going to have to fight for everything we want. Looking at those next 5 games, someone said to me, "Oh well, City's the only one we'll lose." Not for me. I can only see us getting 2 wins or 3 wins, and nothing else, or 2 wins and 2 draws. I just think we'll come unstuck against a smaller team, because any team at the minute that sits deep and you know makes it hard for us to find space, we just can't break them down unless we get a little fluke or a bit of luck. Harsh but true in my opinion. And like I say, I think we're in a big hole at the minute, and it's going to take a fucking big shovel to get us out of it. But I'm confident that Unai and Raul are the guys to make this happen, with or without Stan's backing. But time's only going to tell. Love to hear your guys' thoughts on how you see it at the minute, because I'm sure I'll get my usual barrage of "oh, you're full of shit" and "oh, that player's not that bad, this player's not that bad." You know, like I've told you guys with Wells so many times, he's just not looking good enough. He's on too much money to be an average player, because he's not an average player wages. And you know, people say to me he runs about a lot and all the rest of it. Not good enough. Not good enough for somebody on hundreds of thousands a week. You know, it's the bare minimum I'd expect from somebody that's on that sort of money, and it's the, you know, you'd get a lot more from me on those sort of wages. I'd do a lot more than just run about. So, don't know, it's tricky, guys, and it's just not a good situation at the moment. You know, I was looking forward to last night. I thought we'd give them a good game after the Chelsea match, and we just looked, you know, just a bit toothless again. And it's hard, isn't it? It's hard to write off this year. It's hard to just go, well, I don't care about this season and I'm looking at the bigger picture. But I think that's what we've all got to start doing now, is just forget about it for this year and open our eyes to, you know, this is going to be something that might take 4 or 5 years. And you know, we're going to be in obscurity for that time, but we've been in obscurity now for nearly 15 years. So, well, that's another one that's going to get people saying, well, we've won the FA Cup and all that. Yeah, but we haven't. Too many of you are living in the past still, and really living in the past. You know, we're not a particularly relevant side anymore, and you've got to start getting that into your skulls. No one talks about us as title challengers and haven't done for 5+ years. You know, Europe, same. We're not a big team in Europe. Name-wise, we are, not play-wise. No one's scared of playing us unless it's Carrier Bag or King Ludogorets or someone. And even they probably fancy the chances a little bit of getting at us like lower half teams in the Prem do. So I just think we need some more fighters in this squad. I think we've got to get rid of some lazy-arsed, overpaid players, and get us in some real grafters. And that's it from me, guys. Sorry for waffling a bit, but it's just... I just hate feeling this way about our club. You know, hate it. But I do have faith in Unai and the boys, so that's it from me, guys. Have a lovely weekend. Take it easy. Si signing out.